In the Netherlands, there's a machine built for one job, stopping the North Sea from drowning 2 million people. It's one of the largest moving structures ever built by humans. And in nearly 30 years, it's only closed for a real storm once. In 1953, a storm surge broke through Dutch sea defenses in the middle of the night. By morning, more than 1,800 people were dead. And a huge part of the southwest Netherlands was underwater. The Dutch government made a promise that day: build whatever it takes so this can never happen again. That promise became the Delta Works. Dams, dikes, and barriers stretched across the entire Dutch coastline. But one gap in the plan couldn't be closed with concrete: the shipping channel into Rotterdam, one of the busiest ports on Earth. Rotterdam's port couldn't just be sealed off. Ships needed to pass through it every day, storm or no storm. So Dutch engineers launched a competition for a design nobody had ever built before: a barrier that could stay open for ships nearly every day of the year and still seal an entire river shut in hours. The winning design didn't rise up out of the water like a normal floodgate. It swung sideways, two enormous steel arms that could rotate into place from the riverbanks. But the brief had a strange contradiction baked into it from day one. The barrier had to be strong enough to survive the worst storm surge imaginable. But it could only be allowed to actually close once, maybe twice, every 10 years. Close it too often, and you strangle one of the busiest ports on the planet. Close it too rarely, or too late, and the water wins. Every single design decision had to thread that needle exactly. Before the real barrier existed, a miniature version of it was built in Rotterdam, the famous Dutch miniature park. That tiny model took 6 months to build. The real one, full-size, out on the coast, took 6 years. Construction ran from 1991 to 1997, at a cost of nearly €500 million. On May 10, 1997, Queen Beatrix officially opened the barrier, the final piece of the Delta Works. Each arm is 210 meters long, nearly the length of 2 football fields laid end to end, 22 meters tall, 15 meters deep, and hollow inside so the whole structure can float. Each arm pivots on a single ball and socket joint, 10 meters wide, weighing 680 tons. That single joint alone is heavier than a fully loaded jumbo jet. Under normal conditions, both arms sit open on the riverbanks, and ships pass through a 360-meter gap without a second thought. A computer system called BOS watches weather and sea level data around the clock every day of the year. When it predicts a surge of 3 meters above normal sea level, the closing sequence begins automatically. No person makes the final call. Engineers feared human hesitation more than they feared the machine failing. 4 hours before closure, ships are warned to clear the channel. 2 hours before, all river traffic stops completely. 30 minutes out, the dry docks holding the arms begin to flood, and the arms start swinging toward each other. 2 structures, each as heavy as a battleship, gliding across open water until they meet in the middle. Then they flood themselves on purpose and sink. Their own weight becomes the seal. No motors hold them down. In under 2 hours, Rotterdam's front door is sealed completely shut. Every year, near the end of September, the Dutch close the barrier on purpose, a full rehearsal, just to prove it still works. For nearly a decade after it opened in 1997, that annual test was the only time it ever moved. Then, in November of 2007, Storm Tylo pushed the North Sea toward Rotterdam for real. The rehearsal became the real thing, and the barrier closed exactly the way it was built to. It held. Rotterdam never even felt the storm. The barrier is engineered to survive a storm surge so extreme, statistically, it should only happen once every 10,000 years. It protects roughly 2 million people, most of whom have never once thought about it. It stood mostly open, mostly silent, for almost 30 years. A machine built to lose the fight only once in 10,000 tries. But somewhere on the Dutch coast right now, it's still listening to the sea, waiting for the one night it has to move again. Would you trust a machine to make that call alone? Or would you want a human hand on the switch? Tell me what you think.